Hello there everybody, so another weekend and welcome back to Umineko. Okay, update. Okay, so I got the files that I can't remember what their name is. When you guys send me a PM message, I don't understand why YouTube didn't notify me this. But now I think I've got the actual files that I need downloaded. So if you guys would be willing enough to be patient, I know you guys have been extremely patient. I'm gonna get started on the Let's Read whenever we finish episode 1 and go on to episode 2. I'm gonna try to start Umineko, the actual version that you guys want, with the I think the PS3 sprites, the English translation, and some of the CG images. But we're gonna start that on episode 2. Now, I'm also going to play through episode 1 because I kind of want to see all the CGs that I missed. Which, again, I still don't understand why they didn't add the CGs onto this Steam version. But then again, that's about the same as argument as why they chose the Pachinko sprites rather than the actual PS3 sprites. Which, after one of you guys sent me a link to kind of compare them, holy shit, the PS3 sprites are amazingly better. Even though George kind of looked the same, really. Like, I think he was the only sprite that looked, you know, almost copy and pasted the same, just with slight tweaking. Anyway, it's because of my work schedule, it's going to be a little difficult. But I'm going to take as much free time as I possibly can into actually, you know, getting the other version working. That way we can get started on episode 2, and it will be all happy-go-lucky, and you guys will be set. You guys will be happy, which is pretty much what I want. So let us get right back in. Okay. The uncomfortable atmosphere continued even after those two left. It was thick with the idea that simply thinking about the culprit's identity would be the same as deciding whom to suspect. It had begun to feel like discussion of the case was itself taboo. So no one mentioned the case, at least out loud. However, those thoughts were what filled our minds. All that we couldn't say aloud made our heads feel like they were going to explode. So, at least on the outside, the parlor had once again regained its calm mood. Everything was left unsettled.
少しだけ雨足が弱まった気がするね。
おー、まだいっぱい降ってるよ。おー。
仮にやんだって、この島には船がねえんだしな。船が明日すぐに来てくれりゃいいんだがよ。洋館バカンさんもうお腹いっぱいだぜ。
You can say that again.
母さん、明日船はいつ来るのかな。
本来なら帰りの船は今日の3時に来てくれることになっていました。先方も台風が過ぎてから来直すと電話をしてくれたでしょうが、あいにく電話は普通ですから。でも向こうも子供の使いではありません。客人の方々の送迎目的だと教えてありますから、おそらく明日の朝一番で、多分9時頃くらいに来てくれるでしょう。
Okay, so you have an estimation then. It was completely black outside. I'm sure the rain's not helping. When I looked at the clock, I realized that it was just past 7. I was starting to get hungry. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was cooking enthusiastically. She had laid out a variety of dishes, and while they didn't match the level of Goda's artful cooking, they were still quite gorgeous. It was an act of kindness from Kumasawa, who was trying to enliven everyone's low spirits with some food. Kumasawa wasn't nearly as talented as a professional cook like Goda, but she was far from unskilled. On the contrary, since she had been brought up in a fishing village, the simple food she created was something highly praised. Cannon arranged the food Kumasawa had finished, creating on plates and under her direction. Cannon also helped in the kitchen sometimes, but since he was rarely placed in that role, he was slightly awkward, even though he tried his best. Self-conscious about the fact that he couldn't cleverly arrange the food, Cannon's expression darkened slightly. But Kumasawa smiled as though everything was fine.
きれいに盛り付けられてますよ。カノン君もお上手ですよ。 シャノン姉さんだったらもっと綺麗に。
Don't remind me. Cannon stopped arranging the food for a bit and hung his head. Shannon was the one who always assisted Kumasawa in her cooking. Tonight, Cannon was doing it instead. And as he remembered Shannon's face and her brutal end, he grimaced.
今は忘れなさい。
Genji spoke kindly to Cannon as he advanced upon. Nanjo had escaped from the parlor once the mood had grown soured, and Genji had become his opponent in a game of chess upon Nanjo's request.
はい。今は忘れます。
それがいいだろう。
Genji purposefully refrained from facing Cannon as he spoke. He did so because he understood that it might make things tougher on Cannon if he noticed that someone was looking at his eyes. Nanjo also understood that and held back any thoughtless words.
金蔵さんもどこへ行かれたんでしょうな。ご無事だといいのですが。
わかりません。ただ、すべては親方様が望まれ、仕組まれたことのように思っています。それを邪推することは、親方様にお仕えする家具には過ぎたことです。
源氏さんは怖くないのですか。私には今夜まだ何か良くないことが起こるような気がして怖いのです。
To be honest, I legitimately forgot about that.
怖いことなど何も。私はただ後ろ宮家にお仕えするだけです。
So you're not afraid to actually die. Nanjo sighed through his nose and made a carefully considered move. Nanjo was very slightly dubious. Could Genji possibly be thinking that he'd be left out of this? He couldn't even imagine what was happening inside this mansion. But he definitely couldn't deny the possibility that Kinzo had devised something. Obviously. If you liken this island to chess, Kinzo had opened the game, and as a result, 6 pieces had been defeated. Could it be that Genji was calm because he believed he alone was on the outside of the chessboard, and therefore safe? Nanjo thought about it. Isn't everyone just a piece on this chessboard, lined up equally without any exceptions? Wasn't even Genji, who had gained more of Kinzo's trust than anyone? No, who was confident of his position as Kinzo's only close friend. Just another one of the pieces that laid out on the chessboard? I don't know. Maybe.
源氏さん、私は今夜が本当に怖いのです。無事に明日の朝を迎えられることを心より願っています。
The guest room Eva and Hideyoshi moved into had originally been built to house guests. I don't know how to read. It had originally been built to house guests before the guest house's construction. So until a few years ago, they had stayed in these rooms at every family conference and were very familiar with them. This room was just like a room at a hotel, with a bedroom and a bathroom. So even though they were still shut in, it was far more comfortable than the parlor.
やっぱり家族だけだとリラックスできるな。他のみんなも客室にこもって鍵をかけてりゃええんや。
Maybe. I don't know.
夏日姉さんが客間を出るなって威張り散らしてるんだもん。誰も口答えなんてできないでしょ。あの人、ずーっと冷や飯を食ってきたから、兄さんが死んでやっと天下が来たって張り切ってんのよ。
Treated so coldly, gee, I wonder who's been doing that.
まったく、ずうずうしいったらあるしな。
Really? Really? You're talking about her being shameless. You are literally the capital B bitch to her.
まあ、そう言うな。夏日さんもあれで結構頑張っとるんやで。お前もそう突っかからんでもええやないか。
Thank you.
さっきのレシートの件も、あそこまでは言い過ぎやで。
だってあそこで言わなかったらもう言うタイミングがないんだもん。
I just snapped my neck there for a second, sorry. I hope that I didn't pick up on the microphone. Ava, sulking cutely and looking at the television, sat alongside Hideyoshi, who was lying on the bed.
でも、こうして二人きりになるのはずいぶん久しぶりよね。
そうやな。思えば、わしもお前も老けたもんや。ジョージが生まれてから何もかもがあっという間や。
本当にあっという間よ。子供を作るの焦りすぎたかしら。
Ava's eyes looked like they were staring off into the distance. Yes, she had thought of it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Her older brother, Kraus, had been unable to father a child for quite some time. 6 years passed after his marriage to Natsuhi without any signs of pregnancy, which didn't please Kinzo at all. Ava herself had thought that, since her name would be moved outside the Ushidamiya register when she got married anyway, it didn't matter whether a successor to the headship was born or not. And then one day, she had a heavenly revelation. Or maybe it was the whisperings of the devil that she had listened to in her greed. If she could give birth to a successor first, wouldn't she be able to remain in the Ushidamiya register? If things went well, might she have a chance to inherit the Ushidamiya family herself? Greed, naturally. When she proposed this to Hideyoshi, he had approved of it instantly. What? This wasn't because Hideyoshi also had greedy thoughts. For Hideyoshi, who had no close relatives, it was a chance for him to feel once more the long-forgotten thing called family. Oh. Oh. So when they got married, he hadn't fussed over which last name they were to keep, and had quickly agreed to have his name entered into the Ushidamiya family register. It hadn't been easy to persuade Kinzo, but as his daughter, Ava knew Kinzo's personality well. So by choosing the time when Kinzo was most dissatisfied with Natsuhi, she was magnificently able to make him accept Hideyoshi as an adopted son-in-law. Looking at Hideyoshi, who had achieved success after starting from nothing, Kinzo might have seen a little bit of himself. He quickly grew to like Hideyoshi and approved his transfer into the Ushidamiya register. George would eventually become the successor to the Ushidamiya family. They had raised him strictly with that purpose in mind. He had been worth their while and had grown into a fabulous young man who wouldn't disappoint no matter where he went. That was why he had not been permitted to fall in love with a servant like Shannon. So when she'd learned that Shannon was dead and the engagement was now invalid, though part of her had still been shocked by the gruesome crime, part of her had also been relieved that her dear George wouldn't be stolen by some servant girl. Oh, fuck you, Ava!
私、クラウス兄さんのことが昔から嫌いだったわ。
You're... God.
偉そうで威張ってて。自分がやがては当主になるのだと自慢してて。だから、それに一矢報いてやりたかった。
Care more about a fucking successor than rather having your own child be happy.
でも、それは子供の頃の感情なのよ。でもその感情は、結局、自分の人生のほとんどを支配した。それだけならまだいい。その感情は、あなたやジョージまで巻き込んで振り回してしまった。
エヴァ、備え自分を責めるな。
Hideyoshi got up and held Ava's shoulder. She could feel a warm understanding from him.
わしはな、自分の人生はもうとっくに折り返しに入っとる。でもな、今日までの生活を後悔したことは一度もないで。一度もや。エヴァと一緒で他の男どもじゃ味わえん楽しい人生になったと思っとる。戦争で身寄りを失ったわしにもう一度家族のぬくもりを教えてくれた。だから後宮の家には感謝しとるし、わしの唯一の家だと思っとる。わしとお前が歩んできた人生にな、今日まで ほんまに楽しい人生やったで。
ありがとう、あなた。
Ava hung her head, burying her face in Hideyoshi's chest. Probably, no one in the parlor could even imagine that this side of Ava existed.
感謝するのはわしや。今日までお前と一緒にいて後悔した日なんてあらへん。
私もよ、あなたと一緒になれてよかった。
ジョージももう立派な大人や。わしが見張ってなくてもしっかり仕事ができる一人前や。で、正月あたりをのんびりモルジブあたりで過ごさんか。わしら二人水いらずや。
いやよ、毎年年賀状の返礼で寝る暇もないとか言ってるじゃない。
次の正月だけはなしや。年賀状は黙って下のお年玉くじだけチェックするんや。
It'd sure be nice if we won a color TV this year.
やだ。モルジブでお年玉くじのチェックなんてしたくない。
But none of that either. How's it sound? Just the two of us, taking it easy like when we were newlyweds, just before George was born.
それならいいわね。
モルジブはええとこらしいで。なんもない島に美しいサンゴ礁と水上コテージが並んでてな。
Like when we were newlyweds, you say? Starting when?
仕事納めしたらすぐや。旅行店に聞いてみんとわからんが、多分大晦日前には。
いや、今すぐがいい。
Ava nagged at his lips in a peevish yet flirtatious manner. The only sounds that filled the room were the distant voice of the announcer on the news, which Hideyoshi had left on, and the obnoxious pounding of the rain against the window. Oh. Well then. At least it didn't go into further detail with that, thank you. I'd have to censor this entire Let's Play. Yeah. There was a knock on the door, and Genji-san entered.
奥様、お夕食の準備が整いました。お食事はまたこちらでよろしいですか？
ええ、ここへ運ばせなさい。南條先生はまだ厨房にいるのですか？
はい。次の一手を熟考したいとおっしゃっております。ご安心を。他の使用人たちと
源氏さんはじい様の相手ができるくらいチェスが強いもんな。南條先生よりも強いらしいぜ。
そうなんだ。昔相手をしてもらったことがあるけど、あれは勝たせてくれたのかな。
マリア、もうすぐ飯だそうだぜ。しかし、よく一日中テレビを見ていて飽きねえな。
いつもテレビいっぱい見てるから平気。
マリアちゃんはテレビっ子なんだね。
Yeah, sure she is.
食事だから机の上を片付けないとダメだぜ。
Earlier we had torn several pages out of Maria's notebook, and there was now a mess where everyone had been drawing together. Jessica began cleaning that up quickly. Still, everyone here really can draw. I'd never guessed.
源氏、エヴァさんたちにもせめて食事くらい一緒にしないかとお声をかけなさい。どうせ断るでしょうが。
かしこまりました。
お父様の次はエヴァさんですか。つくづく後宮家の食卓には全員が揃いませんね。
Natsuhi felt her headache start throbbing again and lightly held her temples. That's not good. She may take some medicine or just go to sleep early again. The distance from the kitchen to the parlor wasn't that great, so Genji had gone and come back by himself. But the guest room was a little farther away. Natsuhi had warned him to avoid being alone whenever possible, and just now, Nanjo had also admonished him, saying it would be better if he held a little more concern for his safety. Kanon accompanied Genji, and the two of them went to visit Eva and Hideyoshi in their guest room. They were probably in the middle of doing something, so he probably, not, interrupt them. And Genji knocked on the door.
Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, お夕食の準備が整いました。
He waited a short while for them to come out, but there was no response.
源氏様、これは。
Kanon pointed under the door. Oh no. Crap. A Western envelope had been inserted under it. Normally when something was inserted this way, it'd be interpreted as a message from someone outside to someone in the room. So, since this might be a private note meant for Eva and Hideyoshi, it was not something that Kanon and Genji were supposed to take interest in. But this Western envelope had the symbol of the freaking golden eagle, and it's got the stamp. But this Western envelope was one of Kinzo's, the same kind as the one Maria had taken out last night and surprised everyone with.
間違いない。親方様の封筒だ。
あるいは
Beatrice. Even though this is one of Kinzo's envelopes, the letter Maria read aloud the previous night hadn't come from Kinzo, but from Beatrice. Genji continued knocking a little harder and called out in a loud voice.
Eva-sama! Eva-sama! Genji でございます。いらっしゃいますか? お返事をお願いいたします。Eva-sama!
Oh shit, is she okay? Are they okay? I'm sorry? But there was no response from inside. Sometimes when the servants went to call some guests for a meal, guests would be sleeping so deeply that they wouldn't wake up. In times like that, the servants would stick a letter in the door to show that it was time to come out and leave the guests be. But despite that, Genji beat even harder on the door and called out Eva's name. However, there was no answer. Oh no. Kanon stuck his ear up to the door, held his breath, and listened for any sounds coming from inside.
テレビの音らしきものが。でも気配が感じられません。
You don't sense anyone.
お部屋は空っぽかも。
Genji took out a handkerchief and, careful not to touch it with his bare hands, gently pulled out the envelope that had been stuck under the door. It was sealed with deep red sealing wax. Without a doubt, the mark on that sealing wax had come from the Ushidamiya family head's ring.
Eva-sama! Eva-sama! どうかお返事を! もうお部屋にはいらっしゃいませんか?
But there was still no answer. There was a chance that those two were aimlessly walking around the mansion. This was the home Eva had grown up in. There was plenty of reason to think that she had gone out on a casual stroll. I doubt it. Genji groped around in his pocket and pulled out the bundle of keys which contained the key that would open the guest room.
Genji-sama!
Kanon also understood what this meant. They would sometimes unlock the door so they could go in and do things like make the beds, but only after they made sure the guests were out. To unlock the door for any other reason, and especially to do so when there was a chance the guests hadn't given permission and might still be in there, was an action unbecoming of a servant. But Genji had decided. If the only problem that had been that his knock hadn't received a reply, he wouldn't have gone this far. But the envelope under the door was doubtlessly one of Kinzo's. Or rather, one of the Western envelopes of the Ushidamiya family head. After last night, the sender of this envelope could be someone other than Kinzo. If this letter had been sent by someone else...
Eva-sama! 申し訳ございません。お部屋を失礼させていただきます。
After giving that final notice, Genji stuck one of the keys from the bundle into the keyhole. Okay. There was the sound of the door unlocking. And after slowly turning the knob, he slowly started opening the door. Light seeped through the crack of the door. Were they in the room? Or had they forgotten to turn out the lights? Clank. It was the sound of the door chain being pulled tight. The chain had been secured. The chain couldn't be secured from the outside. So it also proved that they were in the room. The sound of voices on the TV seeped out of the room. The lights, the chain, and the TV. All of these things made it clear they were in the room. But there was no sign of them. Genji called out to Eva once again through the crack of the door. But there was no answer.
Genji-sama, いかがしますか?
As part of their job, the servants were able to unlock almost any lock in the mansion, but they had no way to open a door with a chain. The only way to get by the chain was to cut it. That was certainly not permitted as part of a servant's usual work. A creepy chill had already rushed up their backs. Cannon held his breath again and tried to sense someone through the door, but even so, he was not able to sense anyone.
私は奥様をお呼びしてくる。カノンはチェーンの切断を。
はい。
As Cannon hurried away to get a cutting tool, Genji called him to a stop.
待てカノン。厨房に戻り、熊沢と行動するよう断じて一人で行動してはならんぞ。
Then what about you, Genji?
はい。かしこまりました。
It looked like Cannon was wondering why he had to do something so troublesome in the middle of this urgent situation. But Genji had said it out of wariness. He didn't care what happened to himself, but in the worst-case scenario, he didn't want anything to happen to Cannon. In the kitchen, Kumasawa was piling food on the serving cart, and Nanjo was waiting for Genji, apparently wanting to show him a move he'd finally thought up that might turn the tables on him. But Genji's appearance immediately told him that something was wrong.
おや、どうしましたか、源氏さん。
南條先生、申し訳ありませんが、この勝負は一度中断させてください。カノンはチェーンを頼む。熊沢、食事の配膳は一時中断し、カノン、私は奥様のところへ行く。南條先生もご一緒に。
何かあったんですか？
Something clearly has happened. Genji took Nanjo, who still didn't know what was going on, and quickly left the kitchen.
熊沢さん、申し訳ありませんが、僕と一緒に来てください。
何があったんですか、カノンさん。
Kumasawa said almost exactly the same thing as Nanjo, unable to take in the situation and chased after Cannon, who had flown into the hallway. Taking Kumasawa with him, Cannon went to a storage room and looked through the tools packed in toolboxes and hanging on the walls, trying to find something that could be used to cut the chain.
何を探してるんですか？私も手伝いますよ。
ドアチェーンを切断するんです。大きめの番線カッターはどこだっけ？
ドアチェーンを？どうしてそんなことをするんですか？
エヴァ様たちのお部屋にチェーンが中にいらっしゃるはずなのに、お声をかけても返事がないんです。
It took Kumasawa some time to figure out how cutting the chain and Eva and Hideyoshi not answering were connected, but she did realize that this was an urgent situation.
これなら多分。
Cannon took down a very large wire cutter that had been hanging on the wall. It was called a cutter, but maybe it'd be easier to understand if we said it was shaped like a large pair of pliers. Cannon remembered once being warned that this dangerous tool could easily cut through one of your fingers. Ew! Cannon took that and rushed up the stairs. He already knew instinctively. He should fight for every minute, every second to open it quickly. Or perhaps it was already...
待ってください、カノンさん。
Oh geez, Kumasawa.
早く!
She's an old lady, come on! Kumasawa eventually caught up with him, gasping for breath with both hands on her knees. When Cannon changed his grip on the wire cutters and looked up the door, he let out an struck speechless. Oh no.
なんですかこれは。
Kumasawa screamed weakly, her face pallid. There was no surprise, because right there, on the door, just like the magic circle that had been drawn on the shutter of the Rose Garden storage house, there was another eerie shape drawn with a blood-like paint. However, it would be odd to call this one a magic circle, because, unlike what most people would expect, it wasn't a circle with shapes drawn inside it, but a slightly more complicated geometrical shape. However, those strange characters filling in the gaps, which weren't from the alphabet, were the same kind as the ones on that magic circle on the shutter. But the one thing that had Cannon struck speechless wasn't how eerie the magic circle was. It was that something like this hadn't been here a short while ago. First, he had taken a trip back to the kitchen. After that, he'd gone to the storage room to grab a tool and headed right back. put those together, and it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes. How could someone add something this creepy during that period of time? And as though it had just been drawn, almost like the door itself was bleeding, several unsettling vertical red lines slowly dripped down, getting longer and longer. Kumasawa's knees gave way, and she sank down on the spot. If Kumasawa hadn't done this first, then Cannon surely would have wanted to.
ベアトリーチェ様。
ベアトリーチェ様の仕業ですよ。恐ろしや恐ろしや。
Cannon gulped, then readied the wire cutter and approached the door. He didn't want to get close to this disturbing magic circle, and he really didn't want to touch the steadily dripping substance that looked like blood. But if he didn't get close, he wouldn't be able to cut the chain. Fighting this cold feeling, he gulped again, and after gathering his courage, he went even closer, putting the wire cutter up against the chain. He then pressed with all of his strength, managing to cut through the chain far more easily than he'd anticipated. The cut chain fell into two separate wet parts, which continued to clang as they swayed back and forth.
カノンさん、足元に封筒が。しかもこれは親方様のもの。
It looked like Kumasawa had also noticed the western envelope at the bottom of the door, and that the sealing wax had been sealed with the head's ring. Cannon hesitated for just a second over whether he should open the letter first or check inside the room. Kind of scared to do either, but he eventually decided on fulfilling his original purpose. Cannon pulled a handkerchief out of his pocket. This is so he wouldn't leave fingerprints on the door. If his worst fears were realized, the police would want to investigate this room too. He slowly pushed the door open. He was able to merely clearly hear the sound of the television, which had been seeping out faintly this whole time.
Eva-sama.
Eva was lying face up on the bed. On the bed with her shoes still on. Kumasawa, who had fearfully entered after Kenan and was hiding behind his back, screamed a short eek again when she saw Eva like that. Eva's shoes had been the first part of her that Kenan had seen, so the oddness of wearing shoes in bed was the first thing to strike him. But when Eva's head shifted into his line of sight, Kenan couldn't help but let out a short scream like Kumasawa. Right in the middle of Eva's forehead, something had been placed? Something was growing there? No. Right in the center of her forehead. Was it an old-fashioned knife? That or some weapon like it was sticking out? Oh no. The OST Golden Slaughter's beginning. I recognize that. At the base of where I was stuck in, blood dripped down, staining the sheets on the other side bright red. Kumasawa's knees gave way once more and she sank down on the floor. Her mouth kept flapping open and closed, but she couldn't even scream. Eva was dead, with some kind of weapon sticking out of her forehead. Both eyes were wide open, or open wide, and the image of the person who killed her must have been burned into them. But the only mouth capable of naming that person had been shut for all eternity. Even though her forehead was the last place they wanted to look, they couldn't tear their eyes from it. Right there, the weapon was stuck into Eva's forehead, standing almost perfectly upright. And on the handle was a complicated design that you wouldn't expect to see on an ordinary weapon. That thing could be summed up with the word, occult. It was a vulgar object, with a design that might have been some demon.
Hideyoshi-sama.
Oh crap, where's Hideyoshi?
Hideyoshi-sama!
Eva was on top of her bed, but the other bed was empty. Where was Hideyoshi? After taking a backwards glance at Kumasawa still on her knees and stupefied, he checked the bathroom just in case. At the moment he opened the door, he was greeted by steam and the sound of the shower. The bathroom was of the same familiar style as most hotel bathrooms. When taking a shower, a waterproof curtain was used to keep water from flying out. That waterproof curtain was half open, and lying tumbled down in the bathtub was Hideyoshi, completely naked with both eyes open, and pointing right at Cannon. Just like Eva, a weapon with the demon-like design was stuck into his forehead. Since his head had been under the shower's hot water this whole time, his face wasn't even half covered. and filthy with blood like Ava's had been. But the sight of him dead while still taking a shower was tragic enough. Just then, they heard Natsuhi's voice coming from the hall. She was probably coming with Genji.
またしてもこのような落書きが。
Oh dear.
この手紙は中にはなんと。
いえ、まだ読んでおりません。うかつに触らん方がいいですな。犯人の指紋が残っているかもしれん。警察に渡した方がいい。
わざわざ手紙を残すくらいです。どうせ指紋など残っていません。
As Natsuhi said that, she picked up the envelope. And before checking its contents, she entered the room herself, where she found Ava dead.
エヴァさん、奥様、こちらには秀吉様も。
Oh god, this is gonna hurt George a lot.
これはむごいですな。
彼はシャワーを止めてあげます。気の毒に程があります。はい。
Cannon gripped his handkerchief and twisted the valve, turning off the shower. In the bathtub, a small jar of body soap had fallen with its cap on. It really looked like he'd been attacked while taking a shower. There was still a small splash of blood clinging to the white bathtub, and the combination of red and white made a horrible contrast.
わかった。市販は出た。死後硬直も始まった。おそらく殺されてから1時間経ったかどうかというところだろう。しかしこんな柄の短い凶器で頭蓋骨は考えられん。
Nanjo checked their pulse and their pupils, making certain of their deaths once more. As Kennen watched this business-like treatment, he thought, couldn't you tell at a glance that they're dead without doing all that? Nanjo thought about removing the weapon, but then decided it would be better to preserve the scene and hand it over to the police, so he left it alone. But a close inspection of the base showed that it didn't have a blade. In fact, it was more conical than blade-shaped. He noticed that rather than a knife, it was more like a short-handled spear, something with a shape better suited for thrusting than slicing. Rather than a short spear, you might call it an ice pick. Jeez! At any rate, after looking at this scene, no further words are needed to describe what sort of terrible purpose such eerily designed weapons were originally made for. Nor was it necessary to explain how they carried out their function. Natsuhi, hoping to escape the repulsive steam filling the bathroom as soon as she could, covered her mouth with a handkerchief and dashed from the room. Just viewing their gruesome bodies for an instant had been enough to burn the image into her eyes. If she looked any longer, that image would surely remain in her vision for all eternity. The rising urge to vomit was exactly the same feeling that she'd had that morning at the gardening storehouse. For a while, Natsuhi couldn't help but stand with her back facing the guest room, fighting that sickness in her stomach. Oh shit, yeah.
ジョージ君に見せるわけにはいきません。至急、この部屋を閉じなさい。
見せられませんとも。両親のこんなむごい姿をとてもジョージさんには。
But they could tell that those fiercely racing footsteps in the hallway belonged to George, even before he came dashing into the room. George and the other children had been waiting in the parlor. However, when they saw Genji speak to Natsuhi, and they saw her turn pale and fly out the parlor, they felt a sense of foreboding. And when they saw a large group of people gathered around the guest room, they were sure of it.
父さん！母さん！
なんだよ、このまた魔法陣かよ。
エヴァおばさんたちは無事なんだよな。おい、カノン君、これは何の騒ぎなんだ。
バトラ様。
Cannon didn't have to say anything. George's screams after he ran into the room told them everything they needed to know. God, I feel terrible for him.
誰がこんなことを。殺してやる！殺してやる！
ジョージ君、しっかり
Natsuhi touched George's shoulder with her hand, but he violently shook her off. George fell over beside Ava and buried his face in the bed in front of his mother's face, wailing. Then he pounded on the bed with his fist over and over again.
George 兄さん、しっかり。バトラ様。
Battler had his back against the wall of the hallway, and was covering his eyes with his right hand and weeping without restraint.
心に決めた女を婚約した次の日に失って、同じ日に親父とおふくろまで殺されるなんてよ。そんなのあんまりにも無謀じゃねえか。
Of course, it's sad whenever anyone dies, no matter who it is. But to Battler, those left alone by the deaths of the others were far more worthy. Everyone here now had lost someone close to them. George wasn't the only one to be paid. However, George's pain was far greater than everyone else's.
人はいつか死ぬぜ。いつか熾烈な私と戦わなきゃならない日が来るだろうよ。でもよ、さあ、兄貴にとってはずっと未来の話で、しかもそいつは一つずつ順番に訪れるべきもんじゃねえかよ。濃すぎるぜ。やろう。少しは人の情けってもんがねえのかよ。
Maria tried to comfort Battler with a mechanical sounding voice. Battler violently wiped his tears.
クソだ。もう流さないぜ。悔し涙も悲しみの涙ももう二度と流さねえぜ。全然ダメだ。
There's the phrase that I kept missing out on. You guys told me that this was apparently like one of his catchphrases, I believe.
俺たちは魔女様に爪を食らってるわけだ。主戦一方ってわけだ。そりゃダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。チェス盤がひっくり返っちまうぜ。野郎は俺たち羊が明日まで逃げる手段もなく怯えてるだけだろうと思ってるだろうよ。だからひっくり返すぜ。明日までこの島から逃げられねえのは野郎も同じだ。ションベンチにいそうになりながら逃げ隠れするのは俺たちじゃねえ。暴いてやるぜ。必ずな。明日までに。いや、明日なんか待たねえ。今夜中にその胸ぐらを掴み上げてやる。
You know what, to be honest, I really should have expected Hideyoshi and Ava after that little heartwarming moment, because that's what happened with fucking George and Shannon. I should have expected that.
この部屋は警察が来るまでこのままにして施錠します。いいですね。
Natsuhi announced it as though she didn't care whether they agreed or not. If anyone had a right to object, it would have been George, but he looked as though he'd shed enough tears. George nodded slightly, still facing away from the others. And when he stood up, everyone else agreed too. Natsuhi still hadn't opened that western envelope of the family head that she'd picked up. But now that they decided to leave this room, she decided to unseal it in the parlor where everyone could watch. Oh, great. As soon as they walked out into the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something out of place, or maybe sensed something strange. What?
答えよ。
Huh?
マリアもわかるか。
Stinks.
こりゃ何の匂いだよ。ひでえ匂いだぜ。
When everyone sniffed the air, they did notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway, one that none of them had smelled until then.
私、ちょっと厨房を見てきます。 火はちゃんと消したはずなんですよ。
After noticing a burnt smell, it was natural that Kumasawa, who had just been using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that her own slip-up had caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away.
カノン、熊沢と行きなさい。一人にさせないように。
After nodding at Genji's orders, Kennen followed after her. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in other directions as well.
臭い。
これは確かに鼻が回りそうな匂いですね。しかし換気のために窓を開けてもいいものか。
Natsuhi was reluctant to open the windows in a situation where self-defense was so important.
換気扇を回させましょう。窓を開ける必要はないと思います。
Okay.
ジョージの兄貴、話しかけても大丈夫かよ。
犯人を探す相談なら構わないよ。
Okay. It seemed that George had managed to climb out of the abyss of sorrow. All that filled his chest now was the quiet flame of hatred towards the culprit who had stolen the lives of the one he loved and his beloved parents. And I don't blame him.
部屋にはチェーンがかかってた。さっき構造を見たが、とても外から細工できる代物じゃねえ。つまり、完璧な密室だったってことだ。
Oh, this was it. The perfect closed room. That does seem to be the case. In the case of the Rose Garden storehouse, they might have sneaked the shutter's key out of the servant room. Or maybe they had a duplicate key. I can imagine many ways they could have done it.
でも、チェーンは違う。チェーンは一般に浸透した施錠方法の中で、最もシンプルに密室を構築できる。
チェーンだけは物理的に破壊しない限り外からはどうにもならないぜ。じゃあつまり犯人は扉からは出入りしなかったってことなのか。
こりゃ面白いや。つい数時間ほど前にも扉以外でどうやって部屋から出入りしたのかってみんなで騒いだ気がするぜ。
Back then, we were all losing our cool, wondering how grandfather had disappeared from his room. The receipt Aunt Ava stuck in the door on a whim proved that the door had remained sealed. And since Aunt Natsuhi was the only person to enter or exit during that time, she was under suspicion. Aunt Ava proposed a theory about how Aunt Natsuhi might have thrown grandfather out of the window, and left by the door herself. But this door is much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by the door chain. The window had also been locked from the inside, and the bodies had been inside the room. This time, it really had been, without exaggeration, a true closed room. That's right. If you include grandfather's disappearance, 3 cases have occurred, and all 3 times the door has been the point of interest. The shutter door. The first was the shutter. There was a key in the servant room, and if we assume someone knew about that, this can't really be called the closed room. The next was the door sealed by the receipt. However, Aunt Natsuhi entered the room, so if grandfather had left through the window or had been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the window before escaping. Or, like my theory, grandfather could have hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated with a handful of desperate tricks. In that sense, you really can't call this one a closed room either. And now we have the door sealed with the door chain. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first hadn't been a closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second hadn't been a closed room because Aunt Natsuhi could be suspected. But this time, no one could be suspected. This was a perfect closed room because the door chain formed a seal that blocked everyone equally well.
なら、犯人は室内に入らずに犯行に及んだ。部屋の外から何らかの方法で。
I don't know. Like, I'm legitimately thinking that it could be Beatrice, then Beatrice is possibly, real. But then again, I think a couple comments were kind of getting on to me that I'm leaning toward the witch theory. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of my opinion that I'm thinking right now. I don't don't know. There were some people kind of getting on to me about having that theory.
確かに。チェーンである以上、人が通れるほどは開けなくても、多少の隙間を開けることができる。ノックして、顔を覗かせたところを襲うとか。いや、甘いか。
甘いよな。エヴァおばさんの遺体が扉のすぐそばだったなら、それも考えたぜ。だが、エヴァおばさんは部屋の奥のベッドの上。しかも、秀吉おじさんはバスルームだった。チェーンの隙間からでは、姿を見ることもできねえし、手を伸ばすこともできねえ。ちくしょう！全然ダメだぜ！さっぱりだ！
Something was tugging softly at my sleeve. Oh no, it was Maria.
おお、満足？
Oh god.
満足って、何がだよ。
Don't you remember what you told her to do? That the next murder make it so you have to, you know, think that the witch did it?
Butler, since you didn't want to suspect any of your relatives, you made a wish saying you wanted the culprit to be Beatrice, right?
だからベアトリーチェは叶えた。バトラーが言った通り、絶対に人間には無理なことをして、バトラに魔女の存在を信じさせてくれた。なのにわがまま。
Oh. I tapped Maria, who was laughing unpleasantly on the head with my fist.
ああ、叶えてくれてありがとうよ。今のはその礼と、不謹慎な時に笑ったことへの教育的指導だ。それより教えやがれ。エヴァおばさんたちの部屋の扉にも、また怪しげな落書きがされていた。あれもまた魔法陣なのか。
あれは特に覚えやすい特徴的な形なんだから、あのくらい知っててほしいね。
Thank you.
知らねえから花を持たせてやってんだ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで解説しろい。
バトラは暴力的だね。あんまり意地悪すると教えないよ。言うよ、このげんこつ男。
That's the first magic circle of the moon.
何の意味がある？その魔法陣のご利益は？書かれてるヘブライ語の意味は？
記されているのは、旧約聖書、詩編第107編の16、主は聖堂の扉を破り、鉄の栓抜きを打ち破ってくださいました。魔法陣の効用は2つ。1つは、いかなる方法によって閉ざされた扉でも開くことができる。
そりゃ便利な魔法だぜ。つまり、魔法の力に頼らなきゃ開けぬ密室の扉っていう、魔女様のアピールってわけか。もう一つの効用は、
開かぬ扉を八方塞がりの事態に見立て、扉を開く。難解な事態の時に用いることで、それまで思いつきもしなかった解決策を与えてくれるんだよ。平たく言うと、観察力や洞察力、ひらめきや直感を授けてくれるんだね。
Okay. Smack her, please.
ベアトリーチェはバトラごとき人間風情に、この扉の開き方がわかるものかって挑発してるんだよ。
Thank you.
よーし、もう黙れご苦労。上等だぜ。その魔女の挑戦、受けてやら。
マリアちゃん、この世に魔女も悪魔も存在しない。父さんと母さんは誰かが殺した。それが僕のよく知る人間なのか、知らない人間なのかはわからない。でも、そのどちらであっても、必ず人間なんだ。
Uh-oh, George. Don't.
Yeah, but how? How did they reach those two through that crack in the door? It couldn't have been more than 10 centimeters wide.
それにしても耐え難い匂いです。一体何事なのですか?
Yeah, what is that stench? Kind of getting worried. Kanon and Kumasawa, who had gone on ahead, realized the smell wasn't coming from the kitchen even before they arrived there? That was because they noticed an even thicker wave of stench rising up from the stairs leading to the basement, which they passed on their way to the kitchen. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me check something. I just want to check something real quick. Yep, updated. Okay. Found on the bed of a guest room inside the mansion, with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of her forehead. And Hideyoshi? What the? Found in the bathroom of the same guest room that Ava was found in. Like Ava, there was a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead.
You can't see either of them by looking through the gap of the door while the chain is set. You can't see them, so you can't reach them. Hey, how could a human possibly kill them?
またボイラーの調子が悪いんでしょうか?
Those stairs led to the underground boiler room. The mansion's boiler was old and in poor condition. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they had never smelled the boiler belching out a stench like this before. Oh god, don't tell me there's... Slam.
今の音は?
The thing they heard from the basement was definitely the sound of a door closing. Kumasawa had phrased it as a question, but she already knew it couldn't be anything else. Kumasawa was so surprised at that sound that her knees gave way yet again and she cowered. After all, at that very moment, no one could have been in the boiler room. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had been crowded together on Ava and Hideyoshi's room. So who caused the sound of a door closing just now? Beatrice.
Kanon-san!
After taking a second to sort out the situation, Kanon ran down towards the basement. Since they'd heard the sound of a door closing just now, and there was no sign of anyone coming up the stairs, the person who'd closed the door had to be inside the boiler room now. If the boiler room had been a dead end, Kanon wouldn't have rushed in so hastily. But Kanon was a servant, so he knew. There were two entrances to the boiler room, one that opened to the mansion, and one that opened to the courtyard. If he didn't chase them now, they might slip away. Kumasawa reached the same conclusion long after Kanon did, but she couldn't let him go alone. If the thing in the boiler room was the culprit, an opponent who had easily killed 6 adults in the first murder, then no matter how Kanon confronted them, he wouldn't be a match. Of course, with this argument, even if Kumasawa joined him, it wouldn't change anything. At any rate, after a delay, Kumasawa decided that she mustn't let Kanon go alone, and she rushed down the stairs. Please don't fall down the stairs. Please don't fall. Okay, thank goodness. At that time, Kanon was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him. It had always been an unpleasant, smelly, and hot place. And on top of that, the room was full of that horrible stench, which made Kanon feel like he was going to be sick. There was no doubt that this room was the source. In that case, Kanon should have been searching for where the smell was coming from. However, Kanon kept gazing straight forward as he grabbed a hatchet from a tool shelf just off to the side of the door. He hadn't stretched out his hand because he wanted a hatchet. He had wanted to grab a weapon. Any weapon. Why? Kanon gazed into the darkness where the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. Then, he answered.
ルーレットは数字と赤黒にかけて配当を競い合う。
What the?
だが赤か黒かのようなリスクの低い賭けはその程度の配当しか与えられない。
What are you talking about? The words coming from Kanon's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. That darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. Glittering? Oh. Oh boy. Oh! It was such a fantastical scene. Golden, sparkling butterflies that hid in the shadows all over the boiler room flapped their wings, twinkling beautifully, and gathered in the darkness, disappearing. Kanon continued speaking, directing his words at the darkness as it swallowed up the butterflies up. But as the butterflies gathered in the darkness, they probably no. They would certainly laugh. But Cannon continued to speak without faltering in the slightest.
逆に、より的中率の低いかけ方をすれば、そのリスクに比例した配当が与えられる。
Cannon.
親方様は、天文学的なリスクを的中できることを、その結果得られる天文学的な配当を、魔法と呼んでいる。親方様とお前が、どんな魔法を求めてルーレットに挑んでいるのか。しかし、お前は忘れている。ルーレットには、赤でも黒でもない目が出うることを忘れている。
Roulette has a special pocket called Zero, which means that the house takes everything in certain variants of the game. This means that all of the coins bet on the table will be swept up, just as though everyone was forfeit.
僕は、一つだけ心に決めていた。もし、シャノンが殺されて、僕が生き残るようなことがあったなら、この身を投げ出して、お前のルーレットをすべて台無しにしてやろうと。これは、親方様が決めたルールでも、ましてや、このルールは僕が作った。僕は、もう家具じゃない。お前のルーレットの、ゼロなんだ。
Cannon's face twisted with humiliation. It was clear that his defiance against his own weaknesses was being ridiculed somehow. Cannon's brow creased even further, and a fierce expression that he'd never shown to anyone appeared on his face. The hand grasping the hatchet was shaking. His sweat became drops, which slid downward. It was clear that the emotion causing Cannon's hand to shake wasn't just anger. However, Cannon suppressed that emotion.
僕はもう、お前の言葉に惑わされたりはしない。悪魔のルーレットはこれでおしまいだ。地獄にてさらに1000年、ベアドリージュ
When Cannon raised the hatchet and tried to dive into the darkness definitely sneered. It sneered at that courage as if it were vulgar, lazy, futile, and meaningless. What the hell? Cannon, you okay? Cannon, his hatchet still held aloft, couldn't take another step after that. With a clang, the hatchet that he'd been grasping fell and rolled on the floor. And following that, with a pair of thuds, Cannon's knees hit, left, then right. That hand, which looked like it was trying to catch the sky, now that the hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, landing on his chest. Then the other hand did the same. God damn it. Right there, a handle with the demon-shaped design was buried into his chest. The same type of weapon that had been stabbed into Ava and Hideyoshi's foreheads was in Cannon's chest. Cannon was curled up in anguish, fresh blood dribbling from the corner of his mouth. It was makeup too extreme for Cannon's white skin. Around this scene, the glittering gold butterflies danced through the darkness, mesmerizing. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance. A funeral march of tribute, ridicule, and contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Cannon had already been prepared for his own death, but although he could do nothing but accept the death he had received, he attempted one last measure of resistance. He grasped the handle of the weapon sticking into his chest with both hands, and gritted his teeth with an acute, unearthly pain. He pulled it out. For only a moment, a bright red spray gushed out. It made an unpleasant sound. It probably resembled the sound of Cannon's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead.
Cannon-san?
Good lord. Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Cannon was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa's heart was a complete mess. What a horrible fate. He wouldn't have been killed if I had been with him. What incredible luck. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. As she screamed, her expression was filled with complete confusion, and all the muscles of her face were pulled up, almost as though she was smiling while crying. But no one could have made fun of an expression like this. The first one to dash in was Natsuhi, holding the rifle. Battler and Genji dashed in after her. Normally they would have started discussing the origin of that violent stench filling the boiler room. But after they saw Cannon, who was lying on the ground as if he were drowning in an ocean of his own blood, the stench wasn't important anymore. Natsuhi realized that even though Cannon was on the verge of death, he was still conscious. He's still alive? So she sent Genji to get the doctor. Natsuhi, holding the rifle aloft, faced the darkness in the center of the boiler room and shouted. Battler, thinking quickly, took a large flashlight from the tool shelf alongside the door and used its light to cut through the darkness like Natsuhi was glaring into. But the light only shone on mechanical-looking piping and a door. The door had been left open a small crack, and it was obvious that someone had left through there in a hurry. Damn it!
Genji, あの扉はどこに通じているのですか?
中庭です。
逃がすかよ。くそ、この野郎!
Come on, Battler. Battler let out a war cry as he slammed into the door. Cool air from outside suddenly rushed in. There were some thin, rough stairs leading up. Battler ran them up them, shouting. Natsuhi was also rushing up the stairs, chasing after Battler. They were in the courtyard. The courtyard of the mansion had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it wasn't a very elegant place. Because it was surrounded on all sides, the air was calm and completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of strong winds. There was only the gentle, sorrowful rain. As he ran through the cold and scattered raindrops, dashing up the stairs into the courtyard, Battler looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding a suspicious silhouette just standing there nonchalantly were pretty much zero. Battler spun, looking all around. He turned again and again. He kept spinning until he almost lost all his sense of direction. He prayed that he would see the culprit somewhere in the scenery. But there was no chance. All he saw as he spun was more and more of the mansion's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there were two entrances to the mansion from the courtyard, and neither of them were locked. Because the courtyard couldn't be entered from the outside the mansion, the doors had been built without locks. He didn't know which one they had left through. He had to give up. Battler pounded the wall with his fist, swearing, Battler pressed his forehead against the wall, which he scratched at with his own fingernails as he cried. Balor was a boy who could understand the feelings of pain and regret in a person's heart. So he cried with all his strength. Natsuhi, who had always thought of Balor as a frank person, was a little surprised to find he had this delicate side. And at the same time, she understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be. So she held him.
大丈夫、あなたも、ジョージ君も、マリアちゃんも、ジェシカも、私が絶対に守ります。母として、そして、後ろ宮家の代表として。
Balor, after sobbing into Natsuhi's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile, as though he had been like that the whole time, and tried to appear as though he'd cried more than enough already.
とにかく、一度下に戻りましょう。犯人を探すより、自分たちの身を守る方が最優先です。明日になれば船が来る。そうすれば警察がやってきて、全てを白日のもとにさらし出してくれるでしょう。
There's no way the culprit can escape this island, no matter how much men he'd struggle.
そうっすね。警察さえ来れば。
When the seagulls cry, the crime will be solved. But for some reason, Balor felt a sense of uneasiness, as if the seagulls would never cry again. That couldn't be true. When the typhoon passes, surely the lively seagulls will return to the harbor again. I returned to the boiler room along with Aunt Natsuhi and told everyone weekly that we hadn't found anything. We heard that Dr. Nanjo and George Aniki had carried Kanonku to the servant room. The servant room had a first aid kit and a sink, and apparently could function as a nurse's office. Kumasawa-san and Jessica had accompanied them. Stains from Kanon-kun's blood remained on the floor. Judging by the large amount of blood lost and the ruthless shape of the weapon that had fallen carelessly to the ground, I figured that Dr. Nanjo's treatment would probably end in vain. That weapon was doubtlessly the same type that had been stuck in Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi's foreheads. But wait, isn't the demonic design on the handle a little different? There seemed to be some small differences in that part. Still, as far as their overall shape was concerned, the weapons were all of the same type. Though it had seemed brutal, we'd left the weapons stuck into Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi to preserve the crime scene. So this was the first time we were able to have a perfect view of the entire weapon. As we had expected, the weapon was not bladed like a knife, but shaped like an ice pick. Or rather, a thin stake. And it had a spiral-shaped pattern, sort of like a drill. It looked like something that might be driven into the hearts of human sacrifices in some demonic ritual. Including the handle, it was 25 centimeters long. Half of that was the stake-shaped part, which was stained with deep red blood. The length of the blood-stained part made it clear just how deeply it must have penetrated into Kanonkun's chest. But Aunt Natsuhi and the rest didn't even look at the weapon, and instead stood in front of the incinerator where the horrible stench was emanating from. They must have dragged it out. Dragged out that thing, which had been burning in the furnace. It was still smoldering, and kept sending out dense waves of that awfully unpleasant smell. What was it? Genji-san and Maria stared down at it. Aunt Natsuhi probably couldn't stand to look directly at it. She kept shaking her head, her back to it. What the? I thought nothing could surprise me after everything that's happened, but this is... I stood there for a while, moaning with a rising urge to vomit. The true source of that unearthly stench. Holy shit! But who could it be? It was a scorched corpse that had been cooking inside the incinerator. The clothes, the surface of the body, and the hair were all hideously burned. That grotesque corpse was in a state where not the face, nor the age, nor even the gender could be guessed at. But when I thought about it calmly, I realized that a corpse appearing at this time could only be one person. Kenzo? He was burned? It was grandfather, who had disappeared that morning. and whose whereabouts had been unknown.
おそらく親方様だと思います。
私もどうかこのようなお姿でお亡くなりになるとはおいたわしや。
でもこの死体本当にじい様だって保証はあるんすか？こうも黒焦げじゃ性別さえも想像つかないってのに。
ワトラ君、足をご覧なさい。
Aunt Natsuhi, with her handkerchief over her mouth and her eyes averted, pointed and told me to look at the burned corpse's feet. What?
両足の指が6本あるのがお分かりになりませんか？
Oh.
本当だ。
Just as Genji had said, there were 6 toes on each foot. Each individual toe had looked so normal in its line that I hadn't noticed.
親方様はお生まれの時から両足の指がそれぞれ6本でした。そして故に親方様は後宮家の再興を託されたのです。
後宮家には昔から生まれつき多子症の方が多かったそうです。多分遺伝的なものでしょう。
Polydactyly literally means many fingers. Because of a little mistake by God when the person is born, one of their toes or fingers are split into 2, and the total number increases. But a big deal isn't usually made of polydactyly in the world at large. That's because it isn't a disease, just something people are born with. So while they are still babies, at about the time they turn 1 year old, they can be taken to the hospital and given surgery to make them normal. Even a child with polydactyly can be treated before they become aware, so they might not even remember it themselves. By the way, it seems that there's a possibility for this to occur in 1 out of every 2,000 babies, so even though it's not usually seen, it isn't that rare at all. Speaking of which, I think Uncle Hideyoshi mentioned something to me long ago. Something about how even Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who had unified Japan at the end of the Sengoku period, had 6 fingers on one hand. Okay. According to Aunt Natsuhi, among the many Ushidamiya family heads, the one most praised for their wisdom all had polydactyly. Because of that, when grandfather was born, his relatives were all excited at the thought that he might become another wise leader. And when the leading relatives all died in the Great Kanto earthquake, it was apparently argued that grandfather should be the one to restore the family because of the auspicious sign of his birth. If grandfather hadn't disliked his position as the head so much, this 6th toe probably would have been pretty lucky for him. Come to think of it, I've heard about some country where it's believed people with polydactyly should be treated as gods and revered. This is beside the point, but it is fairly common in mystery novels for a corpse to be burned to hide its identity. But I guess that in grandfather's case, just toasting him wouldn't be enough. And grandfather's body was not simply burnt. It was just like Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi, and the thing that had been stabbed into Kenon-kun's chest. Hold on, I heard the thing. I'm guessing that was both... wait. What the... He hasn't been updated yet. But... oh! Good lord! Oh, God. Burned in the incinerator with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his forehead. The old sorcerer's wish vanished before it could be granted. He always knew that this is one possible result of his risky gamble. One of those... really? One of those demon ice picks was stuck into his forehead.
指に当主の指輪がありません。
昨夜の手紙の通りということですか。お父様。さぞやご無念でしょう。
Natsuhi-san let her head droop and closed her eyes tightly. I'm worried because we haven't even read the letter yet. This room had also become a vital crime scene for us to hand over to the police. It was decided that we would leave grandfather's corpse here and lock the room, sealing it. It isn't clear when grandfather's corpse started burning in the incinerator. Since according to Genji, the strength of the flames hadn't been that strong, the body must have started burning a long time ago. so that stench could slowly creep out of the furnace and fill the room bit by bit, eventually pouring out and climbing up the staircase. Putting aside whether he was rare or well done, grandfather had been brought out, killed, and burned, even though he had started out locked away in the closed room created by his auto lock. There's probably no doubting this. However, according to Genji-san, the boiler room is usually locked. The possibility that someone outside our group had snuck in and committed the crime was overwhelmingly high, and there was also a good chance that this person was walking around with something like a master key. After all, the doors and windows throughout the mansion had been checked. But despite that, the culprit was able to strut around the mansion freely. Does this crime confirm that a 19th person exists? There's still that contradiction, since they're trying to tout their existence without ever showing themselves once. Along with Kiri-san's chessboard theory, I've been using this contradiction to deny the existence of a 19th person. By spinning the chessboard around once more, the very fact that this crime makes it perfectly obvious that a 19th person exists means that the existence of the 19th person is even less plausible. As long as that 19th person doesn't show themselves in front of us. If the culprit could get grandfather out through the door sealed by their receipt, if they could kill Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi from the other side of a door sealed by a chain, then they could possibly go so far as to create a fictional 19th person through strange tricks and devices? If we still want to believe that the culprit is among the 18, then the list of suspects has grown very short. The four of us kids, Aunt Natsuhi, Genji-san, Kumasawa Ba-chan, and Dr. Nanjo. One of these people has to be the culprit. Wait, we can't be sure of that. Just a second ago, we started doubting whether the corpse here was actually grandfather's, right? Maybe we can think of the other bodies in the same way. Excuse me, I need a drink. My apologies, excuse me. For example, the first 6 all had their faces horribly smashed. Some of the bodies had kept enough of their faces first to confirm who they were, but that old bastard, for example, had lost his entire face, as though the whole thing had been neatly peeled off. We only figured out which body was which by their clothes and surroundings. Did the culprit prepare a fake body beforehand and alter it to make it look like they died, even though they were actually hiding somewhere after committing the crime? It may sound ridiculous, but it wouldn't be an impossible trick to pull off. It's too early to give in to this 19th person. No, this witch! Okay.
マリアちゃん、それ以上しげしげと見てはなりません。さあ、バトラ君も。カノンの容体も気になりますし、いつまでもこのようなところにはいられません。戻りましょう。
Maria didn't go out with everyone else, but remained in the boiler room. The thing she was staring so fixedly at probably wasn't grandfather's body, but the demon's ice pick sticking out of his forehead. It was probably the sort of item that an enthusiast couldn't bear to ignore. I tapped her on the head.
おい、マリア。ベアトリーチェの目的は何なんだ？俺たち全員の命か。
Switch modes. There it is. I was waiting for it.
ベアトリーチェはもうすぐ蘇るんだよ。その時、誰も生き残れはしない。
よくも笑えるもんだぜ。自分だけ蚊帳の外だと思ってるのか？どうして自分の身に危機が迫っていると感じない？どうして怯えない？
ベアトリーチェは約束してくれたもん。マリアは黄金鏡へ連れて行ってもらえるんだよ。そこはね、しがらみも何もないすべての人たちがずっと一緒にいつまでも優しくし合っていける素敵な場所なんだよ。マリアは楽しみだよ。その時はもうすぐだもん。
Whoa! Just what kind of person is Maria? I only know what Maria was like 6 years ago when she was 3. She was once pure and obedient, a good kid. This new Maria 6 years later and the Maria I knew didn't seem to fit together. Just who is she? This witch who calls herself Maria. To Maria, who obstinately believes in the witch, This series of unsolvable crimes is proof that the witch actually exists. Every time something occurs that would be difficult for a human, it becomes a little harder for the rest of us to not believe in Beatrice. It must be an intense pleasure for Maria to see her relatives, who once firmly denied the witch's existence, start acknowledging that witch's existence one by one. Is that why she's in high spirits?
マリア、もう一遍だけ聞く。どうせ答えは同じだろうが、もう一遍だけ聞く。お前は昨日、マラテイエンで手紙をもらった。そいつは誰なんだ？
おう、だからベアトリーチェ。バトラがまだ信じない。おう。
Maria only repeated what she had already said. Maria met with the 19th person, the witch. Was that really a 19th person? Or did one of the 18 just get her to say that? All that's certain is that Maria has been with the rest of us constantly, had always had an alibi, and hasn't done anything suspicious. She's simply overjoyed at being made Beatrice's messenger, and certainly isn't the 19th person. Supposedly. That's right. I wonder what's written in the letter we picked up in Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi's room. Aunt Natsu should still have it with her. I freaking messed up what her name was. Oh, come on, we're ending the episode there! Whoa, big clock. $8 o'clock. Okay. Well. Well, before I end the episode, we know what just happened. Found in the boiler room with a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his chest. How presumptuous of lowly furniture like that. Is this Beatrice speaking? I don't know. Okay, please, you guys, I don't understand why you guys are getting so mad at me, but this is literally, this honestly seems plausible that I think that Beatrice is an actual person in this, and I think, if you couldn't tell, I wasn't honestly as affected by Aunt Ava and Hideyoshi and Kanon's death as much as I was of the previous ones. I guess just the sudden shock of that just kind of threw me off that first time. Okay. It's kind of like the Higurashi character deaths over and over again. You just start to grow numb, which isn't good. Okay. Theory time. What do I even have as a theory right now? That closed room, I don't see of any possible way other than a witch being able to pull that off. As for Kinzo, I got nothing. He disappeared, and he ended up in the boiler room. Not only with the ice pick sticking out of his head, but scorched well done. Oh. Scorched well done. Is that even a fucking phrase? I don't know. Okay. Spin the chessboard around. I can't think of anything at the moment. The only thing I could literally say right now is that, yeah, I think it's Beatrice that exists. Otherwise, why would we have that scene with Kanon facing off against the Golden Butterflies, trying to turn against them, only to be struck dead? I don't know. So I'll leave this here, and obviously after I finish editing to this, I'm going to get to work on unzipping those files that you guys were kind of sending me, checking them out, and see if I can get them to work. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.